1995, Pillsbury executive Barber Dunlap goes missing just before New Year's Eve. Days later, her body is discovered in the trunk of her car, stabbed to death. Her husband, initially a suspect, but never arrested.
It is one of Minnesota's most notorious unsolved murders. But now, 30 years later, we're learning a grand jury took another look at this case. And it comes as Lou Ragoose uncovers new police reports, revealing details never before made public.
I don't mind telling the story because the important thing is that people hear it and so we can have a chance to find her.
Back in 1996, after the disappearance of Pillsbury marketing manager Barber Dunlap.
Everything in our life is like the best that it's ever been.
Her husband, Brad Dunlap, told every news reporter he talked to
there she is.
How perfect their marriage was.
We're building a brand new home in Medina. It's our dream home. We're planning a family. Just everything that you want out of life is happening for us, so it's very unusual.
And even after Ann's body was discovered in the trunk of her own car, parked at the old Kmart in Minneapolis on Lake Street, and police zeroed in on Brad as a suspect. This is what Ann's friends supported Brad.
He loves Ann very much. He still wears his wedding ring.
They all noted the perfect nature of their relationship.
We just, said to Ann, if we could just clone him, all the single women would be happy.
Brad's coworkers said the same thing.
And they're happily married. They don't have any problems.
There's probably two people in my life that I admire their relationship more than anyone, and Brad is one of them, Brad and Ann.
And for decades, so did Ann's parents.
Well, he loved her more than life itself. He would do anything for her. In fact, he spoiled her. So he was just so good to her.
But now, police reports obtained by KARE 11 say that at the time Ann was murdered, Brad was having an affair with a female coworker. She told police they had sex while on 2 out-of-state work conferences in the weeks leading up to the murder, then again just over a month after Ann was killed. The woman said Brad eventually ended their relationship after he moved to Arizona, where he's now remarried with 2 adult kids and runs a successful staffing business. The records show investigators suspected a possible affair in the years following the murder, but that the woman didn't admit it until 2020. In a police interview, she told them she felt bad for Brad and believed he was innocent, and that Brad never told her what he did on the day of Ann's murder.
The murder of Barber Dunlap is one of the most talked about unsolved murders in Minneapolis history, and it appears to be at a critical point. According to multiple sources, in February, the Hennepin County Attorney's Office convened a grand jury to compel testimony, including from Brad's alleged ex-girlfriend, the other woman, whom Ann's friends and family members were not aware of until very recently. But the grand jury concluded, and to this day, neither Brad nor anyone else is charged in Ann's murder.
KARE 11 has been in contact with Brad's attorney. We asked about the alleged affair and other details in the police reports, and they declined to comment. KARE 11 has previously reported that police files reveal Ann's blood was discovered in the garage at Ann's parents' home where the couple was staying while their new house in Medina was being built. And that Brad had taken out a $1 million life insurance policy 4 months earlier on top of the $745,000 that Ann already had through her job at Pillsbury. Dunlap received a portion of the insurance money through a confidential settlement. The police reports reveal other details that have never been reported. A woman who worked with Ann at Pillsbury told police that 2 months before the murder, Ann came to work exasperated and said, "My husband is either going to kill himself or me. I don't know what he's going to do." The reports say the woman specified that Ann wasn't joking and that Ann's former boss corroborated that story. But the files also reveal stumbling blocks for investigators, including when Ann's car ended up at the Kmart and who put it there. Ann disappeared December 30th, and her car was found in the Kmart lot January 1st. According to the reports, police believe Brad parked it there on the 30th within hours after Ann had brunch with her running friends. The reports say it snowed that night only, and the Toyota was surrounded by snow but dry underneath.
That's great.
Police believe Brad jogged back to his in-laws' South Minneapolis home and made up a story that Ann went shopping at the Mall of America. But within the last year, police interviewed a couple that Ann's father Don told us about before he died.
And he said, "That's the car I saw."
The couple insists they saw Ann's car on 35W near the Kmart exit on December 31st, the day after she disappeared, and all eyes were on Brad. And the couple says 3 men, not Brad, were in the car. The couple says they tried to tell police about it back in 1996, but no one called them back.
They had decided at the beginning that it was Brad, and they didn't want to listen to anything else.
We will support Brad until the day we die.
The case, now 30 years old, and questions lingering whether police are any closer now than they were then in solving the murder of Ann Barber Dunlap.
I reached out to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office regarding the grand jury. Their response, quote, "The office cannot comment on any present or past grand jury proceedings." Minneapolis police told me that the case remains open and active, and they also said anyone with information should speak with investigators and not assume that someone has already provided a detail or that too much time has passed. And again, Brad Dunlap has never been arrested or charged in this case.
Well, the parents, you said the father has since passed away, and the mother's in her 90s, did you say? But you wonder how family and friends would feel if they knew that information about the affair.
Right.
If that would change things or not. And I also wonder what happens now with the grand jury. They did not indict?
Yeah, and because grand jury proceedings are secret, it's not public information, I really don't know. I was able to confirm through sources that the grand jury was convened, testimony was taken, but they did not indict at the end of it, and it's unclear exactly what that means. Minneapolis police says that they're still investigating the case and it's still active.
And just to reiterate, he says during the time of this crime when it was committed, he was at home waiting on his wife.
Yeah, so according in the police reports, he does. There are details about that, and he says that he was expecting her to come home at 4:30, that he went for a walk during that time, and that he ran an errand, and that when he got home from the errand, she still wasn't home, and that's when he called Ann's parents. They came home, and that's when the investigation began.
And police never recovered the weapon, the murder weapon.
Murder weapon has never been found.
Fascinating. All right. Thank you, Lou.
Yep.